Hi y'all, welcome back to yoga. My name is Zoe. Happy to have you on the mat today. Today we have, I don't know what to call this flow. Maybe we'll call it like hip and shoulder opening, but it doesn't really have much of a theme. It's just sort of a flow. So we'll start as we do on our mat. Take about 60 seconds or so. Welcome to spend this time in silent meditation or incorporating any opening stretches that you might need. When we're ready, starting to bring a little bit of movement back into our space here. I'm going to start by rolling my shoulders. You can roll your neck or even just stay still. And then once we have a little life breathed back into us, let's go ahead and set up in tabletop. We'll start with some cat-cows. So as a reminder, stacking those hands underneath our shoulder points, knees underneath hip points, back is pretty flat here. We could have a bowl of water maybe on our back without it going all over. And then on an inhale, we'll drop our belly, chest will rise, gaze will rise. Exhale, we will dome our back. Hi, sweet. Tuck our hips, tuck our chin. Take a few of these at the pace of your own breath and feel free to add in any intuitive movement here. Maybe movement through the hips or neck. Let's move through one more of each cat and a cow here. And then find our way back into tabletop. We're going to thread the needles here, so grounding through our left side. We're going to extend our right hand to the sky, opening through the chest, let the gaze follow to the ceiling. Exhale, we thread this hand between the space created by our left hand, left knee. We can hover here with that shoulder or drop our shoulder on down to the mat and sit back through our hips. Lovely, y'all. Pressing up through that left hand. Let's send those right fingertips back to the sky. And then plant our right hand on the mat. Same thing, other side here. Left hand extends to the sky after we've grounded through that right side body. Follow those fingertips with your eyes. And then exhale, we'll thread through our right hand and knee space here to hover or drop down. Exhale, pressing up through our right hand, extend through the left, and then replace into our tabletop. Let's just go ahead and prop ourselves up onto our knees here. We can bring this down to a kneeling posture if we want to sit on top of our heels here instead. We're just going to inhale, send those arms overhead, maybe gentle back bend here. And then exhale, planting those hands, we're going to drive up into our first downward dog, sending those hips to the sky, pressing actively up and away from our mat. We're not dropping through those shoulders and then driving those heels towards the mat. But of course, if they're not meeting, that's totally fine. We're just using that cue of thinking to send our weight down through the back of our legs. Let's add in some pedals here. Wake up those hamstrings. And then let's go ahead and look to the top of our mat with our hands. Walk, step, or jump those feet up to the top of our mat to find a forward fold here. Let's take just a moment, find a side to side sway, maybe gentle bend in the knees if we need it here. And then we'll inhale, standing vertebrae by vertebrae, until we find a nice standing posture. Feet are hip width distance apart. Head is stacked over heart, heart is stacked over pelvis. Let's inhale and send those arms overhead. Lacing our fingers at the top, let's find a bend side to side, maybe even front to back. And let's go ahead and exhale to drop those hands at our sides. We're going to now lace those hands around back here. Bringing those shoulder blades in towards each other, nice proud chest, bend at the knees. We're going to bow forward. Maybe this is as far as we're comfortable going. Maybe we can drive that belly towards the top of our thighs. Either way, find your comfort zone and hang out there for a breath. Nice, y'all. Wherever we are, let's gently lower those hands and then release them, letting our hands hang down towards the ground. Now, walking both of our hands over towards the left for a gentle bend. And then over towards the right. This is our little yoga mascot, Leroy. She loves to be here during yoga. All right, y'all, let's find ourselves back through a centered forward fold here. We're gonna go ahead and take a halfway lift. Hands come to our shins or thighs. Tuck those shoulder blades in towards each other. Back is flat, gaze is forward. Exhale, let's go ahead and plant those hands here. We're gonna leave that left foot up front. Step our right foot back for a low lunge here so we can lower down onto that right shin. That knee's over our ankle or somewhere in the vicinity at least. And when we're ready, hips are squared forward. We can rise, hands can come with us. Option to stay here or option to open to the left here, arms extend wide. Option to hang here, an option to reach for that back foot. Take a breath. And let's go ahead and release that foot if we held on to it, bringing both hands back towards center as well as our upper body. Planting those hands to frame our foot, step up and back into downward dog. Nice, y'all. Bring your gaze to the front of our mat. Walk, step, or jump those feet to the top of our mat. Feet are hip width distance apart. Hands can hang here for a forward fold. I'm going to roll my wrists out just because that feels right for me. And then I'm going to inhale to standing here. Nice, slow rise. Inhale, I'm setting my arms overhead. Gentle back bend, just to exhale and swan dive right back down into a forward fold. Planting my hands, my right foot is staying put this time, left foot is stepping back and lowering down into that low lunge. Shin, knee, top of the foot, all that good stuff are meeting the mat. Once we are squared away, hips are forward, we can rise here, strong through our core. Take your option here. Maybe we hang out right here. Maybe we open to the right side, arms extending into warrior two. Leroy's in the laundry now. Maybe we hang out here. Maybe we reach our back hand for our foot. Whew, if you're a little bit wobblier on this side, so am I. if we grab that foot, let's go ahead and release here. Bring your upper body back through center. Frame that front foot. Downward facing dog. All right, y'all. Feet to the top of our mat, forward fold. Inhale, slow rise to standing. If there's one movement you're not rushing through in yoga, well, if there's two, it's Shavasana, final resting pose, and the transition from forward fold to standing. All right, so we're at the top of our mat. Feet are hip width distance apart here. We're going to move through Sun Salutation B. So on our inhale, our arms are going to extend overhead. We're going to sit our hips back like we're sitting into a chair because we are in chair. Core is strong, thighs are strong here. Take just a breath. We're not here for long. And then let's exhale, just fold it on forward for a forward fold. Let those hands hang. And then our inhale will take halfway lift. Back is flat. Bring those shoulders down and towards each other. Exhale, fold forward here, plant our hands. We're going to step back and take our flow. So we can take plank or high plank. Chaturanga, meeting in our upward facing dog or our cobra. And then exhale, we send our weight up and back to that downward dog once more. Lots of downward dogs today. Make sure to take modifications if you need them. We can always have blocks under our hands to bring that ground closer to us for our downward dog. Let's take that right foot up off the mat for three-legged dog. This can be just a few inches. This can be our full range of motion. And we can open through that hip if we'd like a bit of a hip opener. Exhale, extend that foot, drive it through to the front of our mat. Hips are square here. We're setting up for Warrior One. Inhale, strong core allows us to rise. I'm in Crescent Warrior One, high on those back toes. If you'd like to drop that foot to a 45-degree angle for a low Warrior One, that's totally fine too. Nice, y'all. Exhale, I'm sending those hands down to the mat, taking my flow, stepping back into a plank, lowering. I'm going to take Cobra this time. And exhale, press up and back into my downward facing dog. This time, lifting through that left foot for three-legged dog as far as we can comfortably. Exhale, driving that knee up towards the front of our mat, setting up for Warrior One on this side. Strong core allows us to rise. Once again, what you do with your back foot is your business. Take a breath. I'm driving my hands down and back, folding forward to plant those hands, taking the flow once more here. Meet me in downward dog. Nice, y'all. Once we are all set up in our downward dog, bring our gaze to the front of the mat, walk, step, or jump those feet to the front of our mat for forward fold. Inhale, let's take halfway lift, hands rise to our shins or thighs. Exhale, forward fold once more. Inhale, slow rise up, and we're going to meet back in a chair. So we don't quite extend our legs all the way. Arms come overhead, strong core, strong thighs. And let's just go ahead and press up into mountain. Lovely work. Take a breath, take some water, take a moment to reset here before we head into our next little flow. All right, y'all, when we're ready, feet are hip width distance apart. We're gonna exhale once more into that chair, sitting those hips back, arms come overhead. And then let's just find that fold at our hips into a forward fold here. Inhale into halfway lift, shoulder blades pinch towards each other, back is flat. Exhale, plant those hands, take our flow, meet me in a downward dog. All right, we're finding those three-legged dogs again, so we'll start on that right side. Lifting that leg, pressing through all 10 of our fingertips in our 5 grounded toes. Exhale, drive this knee to the top of our mat. We're setting up for warrior one again. I'm gonna drop down onto my heel this time. My foot's at a 45-degree angle. I'm inhaling to rise. We can hang out right here. I'm gonna lace my hands around my low back and find humble warrior, pinching those shoulder blades together, folding out my hips, bringing my belly towards the top of my thigh. Again, much like our opening bend, as far as you can fold, as comfortable without pain, is where we need to end up. Nice, y'all. I'm driving back up through my hips, releasing through that bind. And I'm gonna rotate into warrior two. Flipping my front palm, I'm heading into reverse warrior. Back hand can come down our back thigh or tuck around our lower back. And then I'm finding extended side angle, so we can let this front forearm meet on the top of our thigh, left arm to the sky, or we can drop this right arm all the way down towards the mat here. Take a breath. Option to find a bind here. Right hand comes around the back of our thigh. Our extended left hand reaches around back to meet it. Nice, y'all. If we took this bind, let's unwind. Frame that front foot here. Plant those hands. We're going to take ourselves to this framed low lunge here with our right foot forward. And all we're gonna do is shift this weight from front to back here. Straightening both legs and then bending that front knee. We're gonna do this 3 times. Last one. Back to that lunge, plant our hands. We're gonna find our flow through a downward dog here. Lovely, y'all. Same flow on that left side. We're gonna extend that left foot for 3-legged dog, whatever your variation looks like. And then exhale, drive that knee to the front of our mat. Inhale to rise, warrior one. I'm dropping on my back foot. You can see the angle that my foot is at here. Exhale, I'm gonna drop those hands. Find my bind around back for humble warrior. Pinch those shoulder blades together. Fold at our hips. Inhale, I'm driving up through my hips and then releasing that bind before I transfer to a warrior two. Flipping my front palm, reverse warrior. Exhale, I'm finding extended side angle. Remember that front forearm can meet on the top of our thigh. Right hand extends to the sky. We can also drop this left hand towards the ground or even find a bind here. Lots of options. Take what works best for you, not what you want to do or what you think you should do. You can always work towards those postures, but doing it safely. Let's unbind if we took that option. We're gonna frame our foot with our hands here, high on those back toes for a lunge. And then a 3-time weight shift here. Last one. Frame that foot, take your flow. We'll meet, you guessed it, in a downward dog. Noticing how I don't take the same flow every time. Sometimes I meet in upward dog, sometimes in Sphinx, sometimes I drop to a lowered knee plank. We're not meant to be robots that can perform the same actions time after time. Take what works for you. All right, so we're gonna step both our feet to the top of our mat here, and then we're gonna lower down, bringing our feet wider than hip width distance apart for Malasana or yoga squat. If we need a block to sit on here to just help us achieve this posture, that's totally fine. Chest is proud. Hands can be at heart center, and we want to use those elbows to drive some tension apart from those knees here. We can hang out right here. I'm going to bring my right hand around the front of this knee and my left hand around back here for a bind. And then releasing, same thing opposite side. Left hand comes around the front of this left leg. Right arm reaches around back. And then I'm back through center, planting my hands. I'm rising into a forward fold, heel toeing my feet in towards each other here. Inhale to slow rise into standing. All right, another opportunity, take a breath, grab some water, roll anything, stretch anything that might need it here before we head into our next flow set. All right, once we are nice and set up here, I'm gonna ground through my left foot, drive up through my right knee till it's about a 90-degree bend, flexing that foot here. And then exhale, I'm gonna check for a cat behind me. If you're like me, check your surroundings. Exhale, extending into a warrior. 3 hands can come in front of us here or back to airplane arms with us. I'm doing this 3 times. So that was 1, sorry Libra. Driving that knee up. Exhale, extend. Ooh, I'm wobbly today. Left side is gonna be non-dominant for most of us, so give yourself grace or a wall if you need it. Last one here. Then on this last one, I'm just gonna step that foot halfway back, finding pyramid here, so straightening through both of my legs. I'm gonna forward fold, clasping my hands behind my back. Take a breath. Inhale to rise through our upper body. I'm gonna find a bind, opposite hand to opposite elbow behind my back here, finding a proud chest. And then I'm gonna drop those hands, transfer to a wide-legged stance here. So bringing my toes pointed towards the outer corners of my mat. Inhale, I'm setting my arms overhead. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. You can even heel toe those feet out a little wider if you'd like. Exhale, I'm gonna find a side lunge here, also known as Skandasana. I'm up on my left toes and up on my right heel, although any variation of your footwork here will do. Just finding a stretch down the inside of that right leg here. And then from here, I'm gonna drop down onto my sit bones, dropping my left foot, the sole of it, onto the ground. And I'm gonna drop this whole knee down to the earth. I'm walking my left arm out in front of me, and with my right arm, I'm sending it to the sky, maybe even around my back. I'm unwinding here, sending myself back to a tall seated posture, propping my left foot back up, and meeting back in Skandasana, that low side lunge here. Pressing up, back to that wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, rise through center. Transferring our feet back to front facing through a warrior 1 here. Exhale, take a flow, frame that front foot, we'll meet in that downward dog. Walk, step, or jump those feet to the front of our mat. Forward fold. Inhale to rise, nice and slow. This time we have those knee drives to warrior three on our left side. So grounding through that right foot. Arms can come up with us. Left foot drives up, 90-degree angle, flexing through that foot. Exhale, we press back, warrior three. Drive up on our inhale. Pressing back on our exhale. We've got one more. Nice, y'all. And then in this last warrior three, just drop that foot about halfway between your mat. Foot's at a 45-degree angle. I'm bringing my hands down to my sides, folding forward for a pyramid. Inhale, rising through my torso. I'm finding opposite hand, opposite elbow, round back. Proud chest. Nice, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and drop those hands here, transferring to a wide-legged forward fold. I'm going to do it facing you, though. You'll be facing the opposite way that you were last time. Feet are pointed out, wide of hip width distance. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. This time, Skandasana, low side lunge to that right. Hang here for a breath. Then I'm going to drop down onto my sit bones. Let my knee collapse towards the earth here. I'm going to walk my right hand out in front. My left arm's going to come towards the sky. Maybe even around back. Either way, our chest is super proud, shining up towards the sky. Exhale, I'm walking those hands together, back up for a tall torso, propping this right foot on the ground to find my low side lunge again, and then pressing up for a wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, we rise, and our right foot will be at the front of the mat. I'm all flip-flopped. Release back into that warrior one. Nice, y'all. Exhale, frame that front foot. We're not going to take a flow this time. We're just going to drop down through a tabletop and swing our feet around front for a seated posture here. Nice and tall. Head is over heart. Heart is over pelvis. Tell yourself silently or out loud, I'm strong. Thank you, body, for your ability to participate in activity and keep on moving. Right, we're going to bring our feet in together, soles of our feet for a butterfly. I set up too close to my wall today. The heels are as close or as far away from your midline as is comfortable for you. And if you want to, we can add a gentle bend at that torso towards the ground. Nice, y'all, coming nice and tall. Walking both those legs out long. We're going to walk our hands around back. Kind of like we're sun tanning here. Face and chest towards the sky. Proud chest. And then walking ourselves nice and tall. Right hand crosses over left side body, left over right. Find space between those shoulder blades. Dome through our back. Bringing ourselves back to neutral. Let's cross this right knee, bend this right knee rather, and cross it over our left leg. Option to stay here, option to find that left elbow to right knee and open for a twist. Exhale through center here, uncross right leg to straighten. Bend in that left knee, cross it over right. Option to stay here or let this right elbow find left knee and find a twist. Exhale through center, uncross. Let's go ahead and find our way onto our back here. Bend in our knees. Bringing our knees wider than hip width distance apart, maybe even as wide as the mat. We're going to find windshield wipers here. So on our exhale, we're going to drop both knees over to the right. Shoulders stay glued to the mat, and if we need a block to kind of catch that weight, totally an option here. Inhale, drives ourselves through center. Exhale, dropping both knees over to the left. Inhale, knees through center. And then we're just going to drop both knees, bringing the soles of our feet back in together for a reclined butterfly. Hands can rest on our abdomen or at our sides, or maybe even behind our back, or behind the back of our head rather. Slowing our breath down, taking deep breaths. And when we're ready, let's go ahead and kick both legs out long. Hands can again rest on our abdomen or at our side. We're preparing for final resting posture, Shavasana, in corpse pose here. Exhaling a beat longer than our inhales. Dropping any tension held in our shoulders, in our hands, the muscles of our face. Thanking ourselves for showing up today, doing something that benefits our body, benefits our mind. May peace find you, may peace be with you. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. If you'd like to stay in this Shavasana, please feel free. Moving out when you are ready. Thank you so much for joining today. I'll see you next time.